Hello, everyone, and welcome to the recap/review of episodes 1 to 3 of Naked and Afraid Castaways, currently airing on Discovery and streaming on Discovery Plus and Max. Now, Naked and Afraid Castaways is a spinoff where 9 survivalists are placed on a deserted island with no tools and must scavenge what they need from the island, and most notably from a car, a boat, and an airplane. And they have varying degrees of luck with what they can scavenge. As of now, only 2 of the 3 groups have managed to make fire, which is very interesting. Now, getting to our survivalists, we have Bulent, Kara, Naeem, Andrew, Patrick, Heather, Candace, Justin, and Rachel. Now, the interesting thing about the chosen 9 are that 7 of the 9 have been on season 15 of Naked and Afraid, and 2 to 3 of them have done multiple challenges. Now, I say 2 to 3 because some individuals might not count Rachel being on Naked and Afraid of Love as an actual challenge, but she was roughing it out there. Just cut her some slack. And I also have the episodes in which they were enlisted. And as you can see, 7 of the 9 have only done 1 challenge, and Andrew is returning for his 3rd challenge because unfortunately he tapped from his other 2, and Bulent has tapped from a challenge, redeemed himself from that challenge, and managed to make a 40-day challenge, which is very commendable. Now, the interesting thing about the groups that I found is, there's a little bit of production fingerprints on this, at least with Team Patrick, Heather, and Andrew, which I dubbed Team South, or Team Andrew, because Heather, during her episode, was not really the nicest to her partner. There was a point where she hit below the belt in what she said, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, watch Sucker Punched in South Africa. If that gets a hint to what the episode will be like, then be prepared. And Bulent has been known to not mince any words. So there may be some conflict that could arise because of his bluntness, but we'll see what happens. By episode 3, he talks about how Naeem is a beta, but gets along with Kara really well. And the team of Rachel, Candace, and Justin seems to be getting along very well. They are very harmonious, they understand each other's ideas, but we don't really see that much of Justin throughout the first 3 episodes, so maybe we'll hear about him sooner or later. So each of the teams are inserted into the island. There's Team North, which is Bulent, Kara, and Naeem. Team South, which is Andrew, Heather, and Patrick. And Team West, which is Candace, Rachel, and Justin. So when Andrew and crew first get to the island, they are swarmed by bugs and immediately have to go into the safety of the forest to try and escape from the vicious bug bites and come across a jeep in the middle of the wilderness. And there's some explanation given about how they might have had military outposts there, so they just kind of left it there. But, believe what you want to believe with that situation. And they try to find ways to get fire. Andrew finds a lighter and tries to use the mechanism to create a spark to try to set some stuff on fire, but it doesn't really work. And so, as of episode 3, his group does not have fire, and it is kind of wearing the group down a little bit. And when I say wearing the group down, I mean Heather has been very, very vocal about how they need fire and how great she is at making fire, but unfortunately has not made fire, which culminates in an argument with Andrew where he's trying to say, oh, this is the rules, and she's saying, well, you're being very catty at the moment, and she goes, well, I know how to do it, and he's like, then do it, which is also very, very interesting, and also helps me realize that they put Heather with Andrew and Patrick probably to create drama. That is my assumption. And I just want Andrew to get through this challenge because he unfortunately tapped his 2 previous ones and he really needs a win and he deserves it. He's very skilled and very charismatic. And so shame on you, production, for putting him through that. Now, the team of Naeem, Bulent, and Kara were the first to get their fire going because while Bulent was exploring the airplane that they all found, he managed to find a fuel gauge, I believe it was. I can't remember exactly what he found, but there was also a lens in there that was used to make fire, which is really great for their team. And they were the first ones. And literally, right after he went to make fire, he found an armadillo. And luckily, Naeem was able to fashion a fan blade into a knife so they could use that to assist them when preparing the armadillo, which is a very, very good feat and not easy to accomplish, but he did it. So that's amazing. He just used a rock and a fan blade. And so they managed to make a fire there. And they also used one of the wings of the airplane to create a temporary structure for their shelter to help cover them from the rain. And during this time, Bulent talks about how Kara is an alpha and Naeem is a beta. So you can kind of feel a little bit of the tension between Bulent and Naeem, even though Naeem is just like, oh, I'm just going to put this busted up metal part of a fan into a bucket and put it in the water and just catch some stuff, and I'm kind of a lone wolf. And so there's a little bit of tension there, which might lead into an argument later on. But, you know, in the trailer, you can see that it's Naeem and Patrick that get into an argument, a slight spoiler alert, and Andrew has to break them up. So we'll see what happens with that. And also, the trailer for this season is very spoilery, so if you don't want to get spoiled, then try to avoid it. But maybe there could be a spoiler section for what I think later on. We shall see. Now, the team of Candace, Rachel, and Justin seem to be getting along the best of the group because there's not really any tension there, and Candace and Rachel are able to bounce ideas off of one another. They all find a boat where they find a battery, and they're trying to make fire, but unfortunately they don't have the material to start one. But later on, while scavenging, I believe Rachel finds some steel wool. Rachel or Candace finds some steel wool, and they're able to connect the positive and negative parts of the battery and create a spark, and they're able to make fire that way. And unfortunately, it goes out, but they're able to rebuild it. So the group decides that, you know, we must have someone with the fire at all times. And unfortunately, we don't get to see Justin much throughout this time, but my assumption is that he's been working hard gathering stuff for them to use while they're there because, you know, they need water and firewood and whatnot. And there's also a point where they find an injured pelican and temporarily hold it because at that point they hadn't made fire yet. And so they're thinking that if they can make fire, they'd be able to get the pelican and have it as food, and if not, they will just let it go. And it unfortunately had a broken wing, so that was really unfortunate for the pelican. And fortunately for them, they make a fire and are able to have the pelican. And shout out to Candace because she was able to process the pelican with nothing but a sharp rock, and she's kind of the MVP of her team because she is a hunter and she knows what she's doing. And Rachel is very knowledgeable when it comes to the water, so it's a very good team overall. But is there trouble in paradise according to the commercial for episode 4? We shall see. And as of right now, that's really pretty much the gist of what's going on between episodes 1 to 3. Only 2 of the 3 groups have fire. Heather is very upset about not having fire by the end of episode 3. There was already an argument between her and Andrew. And real quick spoiler, if you do not want to hear my assumption for the rest of the season, then please do not listen and skip a little bit ahead. But my assumption is that Team West all taps out based on the trailer that we see for the season, where when you see the raft in the trailer, you can see Bulent, Andrew, Naeem, Kara, Heather, and Patrick, but you don't see Justin, Rachel, or Candace, which is highly unfortunate because, you know, Candace really wanted some redemption there, and hopefully she can come back at some point, but we shall see. So now, closing thoughts. I'm interested to see what the argument between Naeem and Patrick is about, because I also think that Patrick and Heather were put on a team to create drama, but it turned out Heather and Andrew were the ones to fight, and Patrick tried to mediate the situation, but we'll see what happens with that. And I hope everyone enjoyed the episode of the recap and review, and I will be back with episode 4 eventually. Thank you and have a great day. Bye-bye.